Thank you. So we are just starting to the joint working group in Japan for the micro credential. In the COVID-19 period, we have another committee in Japan named by JV camps that's supported by government. That's a big issue for us, but that organization is independent of us, JMOOCs. So we had some problem at that time, but we have just collaborate with that JV camps supported by government to the last week. Then we are going to make it to the framework for the micro credential in Japan. Just started. So we have to collaborate or making to the common framework in the Asian area network. Then yesterday we have a keynote speaker for the Professor Inoue. So today's session we have to talk or how to create new common framework in the Asian area network, or how to collaborate with each other is our main point in this session. So please, at first, please that scan if you can. So from this questionnaire is some question for the micro credential. After that is fine. So we have to collaborate, correct your opinion or your email address and contact point. We will interview or discussion with each other in the near future. So, sorry, just a moment. And I just making to the today's session's agenda. At first, we are what are the micro credentials? That the main point is already talk by Professor Inoue. Then at first, let's take back briefly. And more content or more more opinion, the framework and its descriptor is there. So just introduction to the micro-credential framework and its descriptor, the second. After that, I will talk to your each country situation in the micro-credential or some other credit transfer system. Then in the fourth, after that, we just gathering to your opinion. Then how can we collaborate and share with you is the fourth point. Then in the near future, what do you think about the quality assurance is maybe very important point for the micro-credential. So maybe finally we have to talk about quality assurance. Assurance is a very important point. Then conclusion. All right. So at first, what is a micro-credential is just take back briefly by Professor Inoue.
Yesterday morning, I have a talk on the micro-credential. So Um, who attended the morning session yesterday? Who are not? Could you? Yeah. Someone don't attend the morning session? No. Everyone already attend. Okay. Okay. So the basic point is I skipped. Yeah. And here's the detail. Okay. 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 So I speak the share activities and micro-acquisition framework in each country. We'd like to share the activities for each country and have to share the similarity and the differences and tool and technology, digital batching technology. So I skipped this one. It's contained this slide. And Professor Kodama already talked just today, yeah, press release and appeared on the website. I'll show you. It's a press release from the JMOOC here. Yeah. We have a joint working group on the JV campus. It's supported by government and JMOOC built a joint working group. It's a press release. Yeah. Why we have the joint working group? We can send the URL to you. I'd like to skip this objective of the framework. I already talked yesterday. Objective framework is quality assurance and common understanding for learner, organization, and employee. I think an employee's understanding, respect is, I think, most important here. And the initiative of the micro-credential framework, there are framework in EU and Australia, and Japan now make some draft of the framework. It's a descriptor of the framework. I'll talk about a little bit of detail in the descriptor after this. Okay. I change the slide. Here is the list of the descriptor. I explained that some of the descriptor today in the roundtable session. There is a date of issuing, time of the micro-credential, and running outcome of the learner's effort. How to describe the micro-credential. We have several examples for several of the micro-credentials. It's just on the template. Date of issuing and the type of micro-credential awarding body, there is, I think, no problem. It's very easy. And for the content of the description, I write a brief description. And it means here, European Union have no description, content description, So we write much statement in description. There is no interoperability with the EU countries. This and content description, very, very brief. Yeah, just one line or two line. Not include, yeah, learning outcomes, objectives. Just short sentences. Yeah, easily understand by the first look. Yeah, very simple description should be right here. And the brief description. The learning outcomes is very important and clearly define the knowledge, skill, the competencies. After decided the learning outcomes, we need to assess the learning outcomes. And the form of participation, whether in person, online, or blended, whether synchronous and asynchronous, it's clearly described here. And the learner effort, it means the amount of learning required learner, total learning time, including class time, study time outside class. Yeah. For example, viewing, watching on-demand material, at the time spent of evaluation, everything. Yeah. But commercial sector not familiar with the total learning time. They usually use just lecture time. So it is better that describe that 2 times. Total learning time, including outside class learning time and class time. It will be the clear for the commercial sector. So that it's a suggestion that it is desirable to indicate both total study time and the class time. Yeah. Or micro-credential, my proposal. And it may be an UCTS, UMAP credit transfer system for the higher educational institution will be acceptable in this region, I think. And the type of assessment is depend on the courses and classes. 9, the type of the quality assurance. It will be sometimes confusing, especially for the private sector, commercial sector. Commercial sector usually don't understand and quality assurance of the higher educational institution. Usually there is no accreditation for the private sector. So we need to clearly describe the type of the quality assurance. Describe quality assurance applied to micro-credential. Yeah, at least we need internal quality assurance. They indicate internal quality assurance rule and regulations. Higher education institution, private sector, and industry, and everything. Yeah, need to describe the internal quality assurance. So the micro-credential, the descriptor embedded in the sometimes the digital batch. The digital batch contains a whole content document, so the just URL, and jump to the quality assurance information, and then indicate external quality assurance. And some private sector have the quality assurance accreditor. For example, Project Management Institute and headquarters United States have the accreditation system for the private sector. Yeah, even the private sector have the accreditation system. Higher educational institution, all higher educational institutions have the accreditation. So the indicate the name of the external quality assurance. Yeah, here. In general, there is an institution level quality assurance, external quality assurance, and program level, the external quality assurance, 2 level. In general, the whole micro-credential, institution level external quality assurance, it will be acceptable, but the individual program level is very hard because quality assurance, micro-credential quickly changed, quickly should be introduced. So the program level quality assurance will be very a big burden to issue the micro-credential. There is several opinion, and European Union require the program level external quality assurance, but Australia don't require program level quality assurance. We need some consensus in this region. I think quality assurance is a big issue, biggest issue for the micro-credential. And credit as a recognition, there is a not so big problem, I think. Another one is it's optional, and the country and the region, the issue, the language, and sometimes the language information will be required here. And level of the micro-credential. There is a different qualification framework and depending country, and Australia and Malaysia and EU and very precise quality defined qualification framework, but the United States and Japan have no precise quality framework, just undergraduate and graduate. So we need to the minimum level, the micro-credential level consensus in this region. And the certification achievement of learning outcomes, sometimes the digital certificate, sometimes the digital badge, and sometimes the professional development unit. Accumulation, the professional development unit, and renew some licenses for the private sector. It's also there some certification. Okay. It's one showing of the descriptor example. Okay. So the
Thank you. I'm Suji Lee from Korea Education and Research Information Service. And I'm really sorry that I'm not an expert in micro-credentials yet. But what I am understanding is that I briefly understand that micro-credential will be stackable into a degree later. That's the only thing that I understood so far. But yesterday morning, Professor Inoue talked about a lot of things, like a lot of common background or common grounds that we need to understand and we need to agree upon to go for what micro-credentials needs and what will be the qualification, or what will be the quality assurance for the micro-credentials. I have several questions. First of all, when you are saying the micro-credentials, is micro-credential is composed of several courses that offered by university, or does it only one course can only finishing or completing a one course that will assure you a credential? The previous one, or the first one. The first one is the one that I understand. For example, in one course in a university, you are all in the university setting, right? So you are saying that there is a course which have 3 credits in one semester. In that course, you will learn, for example, you will learn how to do the Python and how to do R programming, or how to do something else. But those three can be taught in one course. But after finishing that one course, only 3 credit hour, then can it be saying that you are certified as an expert? Well, you are certified by being educated at that field. Is it, am I right or am I wrong? Yes, yes. Because, and there's one more question. So the other one is that if we are saying micro-credentials, does it include offline courses as well as online courses? What I'm thinking when I looked up the descriptors that you are showing us, the online course versus offline course must have had different descriptors, I guess. So if we are saying that micro-credentials cover online as well as offline, that there will be different descriptors that we need to agree upon, right? Those are my two questions.
From Malaysia point of view, number one, micro-credential courses can be offered online, offline, and blended in Malaysia. So upon finishing a course, you can earn a credential, but that credential is very micro. We call it micro because it doesn't give you any diploma. It doesn't give you any bachelor degree or master's degree. That's why we call it micro credential. But if you say that, for example, for 3 credit hour course, at the end of it, you get a certificate, and is that called micro credential? From our point of view, yes, and that also depends on universities receiving this kind of credential. I show you an example just now when 5 employees went through courses in Coursera, and then they come to university to transfer their credits. So maybe when they learn in Coursera, they learn up to 120 hours or more. But when we do student learning time mapping with our existing courses in our university program, it turns out that it maps with only less than maybe 10 credits. So that number of credits and number of hours, I would say, depends on the entity who would like to recognize that credential. So your question, that would mean yes for certain university and also no for certain university. So it depends on how similar or the mapping of that course learning outcome with the existing receiving entity who wants to recognize that credential. That would be.
If you allow me to share some of my understanding about micro-credential. Micro-credential is just a small learning units. How small? Depending on countries. So that's why we would like to have a regional framework for micro-credentials to set up minimum hours or workloads in terms of credits, to say, according to my understanding, Europe, they said no less than 5 hours micro-credentials. But of course, we can make it even smaller. Second, if it's not being related with credits, common credits, it doesn't make any sense. When we just keep talking, because you do not have a common measurement, right? But usually the measurement should be based on workload and also learning outcomes. Sometimes, in some countries, they are achieving the workload more efficient than other countries. Maybe, that will happen, right? But normally, we should harmonize. For this kind of learning outcomes to be achieved, it needs how many times? School hours, suggested school hours, right? Even for our UNESCO training courses, you finish online and then you go through the evaluation, right? It will tell you, this course will take 2 hours. Standard hours, 2 hours, or 3 hours. So I think for micro-credential, we would really need to know, this small learning units, how many hours, and then what will be the expected learning outcomes. Then we need to have at least an institution first. Then we should have a nationwide credit, right? Then we are talking about regional framework. Then all these kind of small learning units can be recognizable. For me, when I first catch this concept, I said it's nothing new. But later I realized that the difference between short courses and the micro-credential is the validation process. And it's because small courses can be fragmented, and the micro-credential is part of the big learning ecosystem. Now, you have to link this with your qualification framework, right? So that's the point, right? Rather than small courses, we have many small, 2 days courses, programs, 3 days, So this is really the things, and of course, online, offline, blended is all okay. So that's my understanding, just for your information. Maybe.
Just some additional points to what Professor Libing has mentioned. Yes, these are very short learning engagements and with a very focused learning outcomes. So I think that's a very, something that would differentiate it from other short courses. In our case, how would our we call them micro courses, how would these micro courses be different from the usual MOOCs that we offer, from the usual short courses that we offer? We also integrate vetting or the partnership with the industry. Because what we really want to give to our learners is a learning engagement that would be very useful for them, especially when it comes to employment, career advancement, etc. So we have to work this out with the industry, with the major industries in the country, so that we will know what exactly do you need at the moment, especially now that this rising gig economy, wherein those in the profession would really require small learning engagements, short learning engagements that they would need so that they could advance in their work, that they could be in the market for this gig work, right? Gig work engagement. So, but at the end of the day, they have to be stacked because that is another feature of micro-credentialing. So we have to align it with the learning outcomes of the credit courses that we have under the degree program, and that is where the national qualification framework would come in. So at what level would be these learning outcomes be in that qualifications framework? So earlier, I think there was a mention of whether it is at the undergraduate level, at the graduate level. So the learning outcomes for these various levels are already defined. So we will know, are we doing something for this level of the qualifications framework or this level? This learning outcome would contribute to the degree program that we are offering, so that these short courses can be stuck to form probably a 3-unit credit course, which can qualify for the completion of the requirements of a degree program. So those things will have to come into place. The qualifications framework, the learning outcomes, and I think earlier, I think it was you who mentioned that the more challenging thing is making this alignment of learning outcomes as we try to also address the current needs of the industry. So we have to put all these things together. In terms of assigning credit units, yes, you are right. We follow that. And that is why in our framework for micro-credentialing, we assign, or somehow we have this assignment of 0.5 credit unit for each micro course that we will develop with this number of hours. Usually we measure it in terms of class or class hour, not the outside thing. So we have the 16 hours of engagement, actual engagement with the learners. So something like that. So I was looking at the descriptors that was being presented, and I was trying to think what else, what are the other things that we don't have in our micro credentials. But at least the basic things, the essentials, we already have. But yeah, so I think for us in the Philippines, what is important is the engagement with the industry, and that will make it different from our previous micro-credentialing initiatives. Yeah, thank you.
Any other question?
It's a biggest issue that how we invite industry that this round table. Yeah, we need to invite a round table from the industry. Yeah, 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 and discuss on
Yes.
the framework.
Yeah.
Industry, how describe the framework, how evaluate employee, the learner to the wage.
I was invited because I already proposed this partnership with the industry. So as we know, this business process outsourcing is a big industry in the Philippines. This is IT-based, which is very much aligned with what we are doing at the university. So they presented the knowledge, the skills that they need from now until 2030, and the number of workforce that they need, which could be supplied through the micro-credentialing initiative of the university. So it's very important. And if I got it correctly, if I got the feeling correctly, is that they welcome, the industry welcomes this kind of thing. And in one, in one summit here in Bangkok also, where industry was also present, I think it was by the EU Share sponsored conference. There were the industry from Malaysia, from Thailand, and they said yes, they welcome this kind of initiative from the academe, and yes, I think they should be part of our plan and the various activities, roundtable discussions like this, so that they can already be integrated into how the planning of these things. Thank you.
I think IT industry will recognize micro-credential and recruit on the skill-based. Yeah, IT industry is easily adapt the micro-credential. But the manufacturer, for example, automobile manufacturer, the mechanical industry, it depends on the traditional degree. So they cannot tend to accept the micro-credential, the skill-based recruitment. So we need some information, especially the manufacturing company and the traditional sector of the industry, I think, my opinion.
Micro-credential also encourage diversifying learning providers, because you cannot always count on traditional universities, to do this kind of things, right? So by introducing external learning providers, we can revolutionize the learning profession, right? Normally, you cannot make some big change, from within the system, right? So micro-credential is really the things, and we would also like to see more involvement of the supply side, like the industry, demand side, rather than supply-driven, right? But we also need to know that macro-credential and the micro-credential are all part of the learning ecosystem, right? We cannot always pursuing this fast food type of programs, in the name of agility and relevance, but actually education is very holistic, actually, right? So that's what we would like to see. It's a combination of macro and the micro, right? And the demand side and the supply side. This kind of, yeah, thank you.
All right, we have no time to much time, but that question is very important for us. At first, some country has a very different meaning for the micro-credential right now. We have adjust to the same meaning to the micro-credential at first, maybe. We will continue to discussion about these topics. All right, so we move to the other topics to introducing to the micro-credential framework.
it's a little bit busy on the ground. Sorry. And yesterday I briefly talked on this graph. We'd like to share the goal of the micro-credential and project and outcomes, intermediate and benefit and the benefit. And we'd like to find some bottleneck to introduce a micro-credential and share the micro-credential ecosystem. Upper side of the project 1, 2, 4, 3, 4 is depend on the educational system, and the project 5, 6, 7, it's some the information technology side. Yeah, there are two part. Yeah, we need to collaborate with, for example, one EdTech consortium and quality assurance side both. Upper side is how to deliver platforms that MOOC. And the project 4 is a skill standard. And each country have some skill standard, IT skill standard, something like that. We need to some the alignment and the skill standard. For example, IT and data science level is a big demand for the skill standard. Yeah, and JMOOC now have the initiatives, this kind of the working group. So the framework is a quality assurance level framework, and then the skill set and framework of the each expertises. Yeah, and the bottom level is information technology, how to describe a micro-credential, the digital badge. It's very important. There is yesterday I received several questions, digital badge, and have the two versions, version 2 and version 3. They are not incompatible. Yeah. So that we need to accept the both version in the wallet practical case. And there's also the need for the international collaboration. And the project 7 is a common digital description of the transfer the academic record and bigger academic record, sometimes the CV, yeah, including the macro credential, the micro credential, some of the experiences, and whole stored in the common digital credential. Yeah. And Thailand has a credit bank system. Yeah. And other countries have different credit bank system. How to transfer the academic record is one challenges. That we need some the digital format and exchange data. Yeah. Last one. And yesterday, it's a roadmap. It's a roadmap, technology roadmap for the digital credential. And at the present, we use PDF without digital signature and the PDF with digital signature for the graduate. It's a macro credential, graduation certificate and transcript. Usually use a PDF with a digital signature, and receive access to some the website and verify the content. Yeah, usually we use. And the micro credential now usually use the Open Batch 2.0. That we move to the in near future the variable credential data model and the comprehensive learner record CRT 2.0. CL 3.0 cover open batch 3.0 and macro credential whole. In the future, how we transfer academic record is another our discussion issue. Yeah. I thought Kodama sensei. Yes.
All right. Maybe we have some prototypes or digital batch or some specified to the micro credential right now, but we don't have so much time. Yeah. Just 1 point. 1 point is okay. All right. We have a little bit time. Okay. So we are talking about how is the situation in your country. So please introduce us to your situation, or micro credential, or digital batch, or something. We are just interested in the academic collection bank system in Thailand, for example. Could you explain to us? Could you explain to the credit bank system? Credit bank system? What is different from the digital batch something?
Okay, so first I would like to ask some question first. So we are talking about credential platform. Your talk yesterday. Then actually there are 2 layers of the micro credential, right? The upper layer is related to assurance and all the thing, and then the lower layer is the representation, the technical representation of the data of that credential. That I understand that you are using the open batch right now, and that you showed before. So in this roundtable, and then in the future, we are going to kind of working on both of the layer, right? On both the upper layer on the micro credential and also the representation of the credential as well, right? Okay. So I could share a little bit about situation in Thailand on the lower layer. Okay, I don't know much about the micro credential in Thailand. Maybe Ajahn Onchai can share later. But on the representation layer, we currently do not have any common standard for the micro credential. But then for the other things that you showed before, can you show the other slide that you showed, the one that is a certificate, and then the micro credential, and then the other things. So for the micro credential, we don't have any standard yet. But then for the certificate of transcript, we have a standard that is also the same as your current standard. We have a PDF with a digital signature, and then inside that PDF we also have some of the structural data in that. We have an XML file with the predefined format inside the PDF, so it is machine readable. So we call that the digital transcript standard, which also we also use that as well as we use that for transcript as well as for the course completion. For a single course, we also use that standard to represent the outcome of the output of that achievement as well. In the future, we are also looking at the verifiable credential, and many universities in Thailand also interested in applying the open batch 3 and then the verifiable credential as a standard for both micro credential and then also as a macro credential as well. Maybe Ajahn Anushai can share.
Thank you very much. Anushai from Thailand Cyber University. The previous is Dr. Pongthawat. He is the developer partner of Thai MOOC. So I would like to additional information from Dr. Pongthawat that in Thailand we still did not have the common definition of the microcredential, but a lot of universities are working toward definition. But we try to align and have maybe the common definition, but still not yet. In my understanding, I talked to many universities. The very strong university that work in the micro credential, King Mongkut, not พระจอมเกล้าธนบุรี Yeah, we agree that there are four point of definition. First is short course, short duration, short and skill based, and then industrial recognition, and the fourth is the stackable to macro credential. So this is the four point of the definition. Yeah. Okay, and then come back to the concept of the micro credential and credit bank. Since we still working on the micro credential, so we still did not have any tangible courses or series of courses that can call micro credential, but maybe in the near future we still have. But now we are working on the credit bank system because of in the level of Ministry of Higher Education, they announced the regulation allow the university to collect the learning credit from the formal education, from the non-formal education. That means the training, the workshop, also the online courses. The ministry allow that you learn online courses. You can calculate to become credit and collect that credit in the credit bank. In the credit bank of the university that provide the course, and then transfer the credit to the national credit bank that can be accessible for all university. So the student can move to other university and then ask the university to retrieve the learning record and try to compare and transfer to become credit in that university program. So this is the concept of the National Credit Bank. And now similar concept. Yeah. No, Indonesia. Thailand. Oh, your picture is beautiful than us. Wow, can we borrow your picture? Beautiful. Yeah. This is the concept. So, in additional, Thai MOOC was accept to become one university that we can have our own credit bank and synchronize with the national credit bank. So we encourage all universities, if you don't have your platform, you can put your online course, your MOOC course in Thai MOOC and become a credit recognition in the credit bank. Okay. And this is the situation of credit bank in Thailand. But we believe that in the near future, if we have micro credential, we can map that this credential that will be industrial recognition, not the certificate of one course, the learning course, but the skill-based industrial recognition. Maybe combine many courses, many online courses, plus some workshop, plus some practical, and then combine to become credential, and then be caught in the credit bank, for example.
I also think like another thing that Thailand do differently than other, I'm not sure, but what we also doing is that when we design those courses that Dr. Anushai mentioned about the soon-to-be micro-credential, we also working with the professional organization, yeah, and to in line with, you know, the professional competencies, because we at least it can guarantee that it will go toward, you know, like what industrial needs. Yeah, so that what we're trying to do as a pilot project. Yeah, so I think we are all in the, I mean, yeah.
Okay, I would like to give you an example from a traditional university perspective. Well, actually, we do not simply pack small courses, MOOCs, into a micro-credential. We just design at the very first beginning. So there, from the specific departments or schools, there will be a academic committee to select what courses could be included in this micro-credential to create what kind of foundation for the students on learning. That's the learning outcome. And well, we have several micro-credentials, and most of them have like 4 to 5 MOOCs, and with a milestone project at last. So I totally agree with that. Professor Wang Libin mentioned that maybe the learning hours could be a better way to count the credits, which could be recognized in this region. And yeah, and actually in Tsinghua, we created the micro-credentials for lifelong learnings, for the adults, lifelong learning. So some of them are related to the industry. And also there are some micro-credentials are courses, are consisting of courses from the master program, which the credits could be recognized when they get into our graduate school, like the edX MicroMaster. Yes, so some of them are very theoretical, like we have a micro-credential about the certificate program, we can also call that the logic, very, very theoretical. And so we're really looking forward to the regional micro-credential framework, because we believe that students could learn the other countries' micro-credentials for lifelong learning, maybe also for the graduate school or even their undergraduate education, and so which can promote the virtual mobility and also the global mobility. Yeah, students could go to maybe Kyoto universities for their further learning for degree, but they have already got some credits in advance. Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other countries? Or can I make sure to the one point is in the Thailand, in the credential it means only in the digitally in the PDF file. Only recording the PDF file as right now. This moment. If we will transfer to the automatically, maybe it is difficult to yeah. PDF file. Okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Nabuhar, like, yeah, like the one that you just show us earlier about the certificate, the digital certificate with the PDF and embed and have the tracking number, right? So I think we are using the same technology with, yeah.
Yeah.
So when we want to accept someone's certificate, when they apply for credit transfer from our academic program, So we can always trace again the ID, and then we will be able to know how many hours the original course are and who are the providers, and then we can see the cost learning outcome from that certificate provider. And our certificate that we issue as well carries the same information. It's very similar to the descriptors from JMOOC just now. And I remember ticking the mandatory O and none for when I received the form before. So it's very similar to descriptors that we have in Malaysia. Yeah.
The national standard, the one that, or the university.
Yes, we
that the
actually have
national-
it's not a national standard, but we have a quality assurance guideline
Yeah.
in which we detail out what are the things that has to be included in a
Uh-huh.
certificate,
And then you follow that.
and then we follow
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I think we share the similar concept. In Thailand, the regulation announced that the data that should be included in the certificate, the field, the number of fields that should be included, and also we follow the standard, national standard that used for the transcript. We also have the encoding and embedded data in the transcript. We use the same standard.
But it's again, finally, it comes down to the university who wants to receive and recognize the certificate.
Yeah.
Upon knowing this information, then it comes back to the university whether they want to accept the information provided by the student in the certificate. So, like I said, that is where the mapping of the student learning time, mapping of the course learning outcome, we only accept 80% and more similarity of
I see.
course learning outcome. Then only we approve for credit transfer. If it is not 80% similar, then we have the rights to decline application for credit transfer. Yeah.
Similar. I would like to share the regulation from Thailand. The regulation allow the home university, the university that accept the credit, they can make decision. They want to accept or not accept. But we did not have the degree, the percentage. It depends on the university. Maybe similar, 50% they can grant half, maybe 1.5 credit. Possible.
I think we do not want to deal with, if we accept 50%, what about another 50%? This student has to get another 50% of learning. So
Yeah.
I think for UNESCO,
That's difficult.
recognition is a big issue. Now we are only dealing with people working in the recognition authorities, but actually the end user of the recognition should be the school admission officials. When it comes to further studies, for Oxford would recognize, this is the certificate with all these transcripts or diploma supplement, right? They would evaluate if they would. For further, for employment opportunities, it's also up to the human resource management officer to evaluate, right? I remember early this year, we are recruiting people. We put qualification requirement, and it was declined by our HR at headquarters. They said, it's not in the database of IAU database. It's not recognized. So when we talk about recognition, it's not, you cannot do recognition for the sake of recognition, right? It must have some purposes, So I think for the Tokyo Convention and the Global Convention, we are going to engage university admission officers, and for this each human resource management officers. Recently in China, there was a growing number of faculty members pursuing fast-track Ph.D. degree in the Philippines and in the Malaysia, and clearly many universities it's not going to be recognized. So recognition actually lies with the individual universities, when we are talking about this, right? Really fast track a lot, a lot. Okay, thank you.
Our system together. For example, Malaysia is now leading the way, right? You have a lot of experience, but in Southeast Asia alone, we haven't got any unified standards.
approach. Let learners to decide how they deposit their learning, experiences and certificate, right? Through a blockchain. Actually, blockchain can be centralized, can be decentralized, right? So they are proposing this kind of e-credentialing. It's a portable e-learning wallet or something, right? This kind of personal portable, right? This kind of things. Actually, this is really an issue, of course, for Asia Pacific, most of the countries, they have quite centralized. But database, we encourage national ownership rather than, owned by UNESCO, it's not possible, So usually we have a network of national information centers who will provide all the information on their system. But eventually, further studies, employment opportunities, it will go to the admission school, university admission officers, If you apply for a Ph.D. in Oxford University, we will be screened out, actually, if you have not meet their requirement, right? But for human resource also, UNESCO, we are equal we equal opportunity for we do not discriminate any qualifications once it's being in IAU database, right? Even but in reality, for the panels also, this guy is Oxford, this is Harvard, right? So it will be affected actually when it comes to real practice. Thank you.
I'd like to talk about architecture. Yeah. Centralized to the decentralized. In future, the all decentralized. Yeah. Now the macro credential issued in the PDF format, but that format not standardized. There is more than 10,000 all over the world, not compatible. The next decade, next step, including micro credential, the macro credential, will be go to the variable credential data model, decentralized. At the time, it's a good chance. Yeah, we have the standardized format, a whole macro credential. Yeah, graduation certificate also. Yeah, it's a big chance to have the standardized format, macro and micro, both, and the same format here in the future, one format, and we can have the comprehensive runner record exchange runner record internationally. Another one is a point is here, the collaboration of here. This one. And it's a layer, academic layer and information technology layer. There are two layers. Yeah, different person take caring two layers. Yeah, we need to collaboration and make same architecture and the same understanding, I think. An upper layer from here, here. It's an academic layer. It's a layer, it's a information technology layer. We have the macro credential academic layer exchange, and we'd like to have the macro credential framework in this region. And here is many macro credential or the contents. Yeah, it's academic layer. And the information layer, here is an open batch 2.0, 3.0. It's a description, some language, information technology, not contents. It's not content. How to describe. Yeah. And there is a PDF format. It's not compatible with the next generation system. Macro credentials should be described as CLR 2.0 in future. That we can have the comprehensive runner record in this record, we can have the transcript and the micro-credential, the macro-credential also, yeah. It's a European Union structure. European Union have already another structure, Europass, digital pass, and European Union digital credential. So I'd like to talk about how to transfer academic record. Yeah. It's a breakdown of the procedure. Yeah. We'd like to talk about each national bank system, how to transfer the system. For example, Thailand National Credit Bank system, and maybe another country has another credit bank system. How to transfer, the academic record. I think this is some exchange format. We can share the same interface. So Thailand National Credit Bank system output and some the standardized format, and another country captures this format and convert individual country the credit bank. If a country just the same structure of this one, the country don't need to convert just the same as the standardized format. The next target is how to have this kind of standard format in this region. Yeah, it's very good chance because One EdTech Consortium will release new version, Open Batch 3.0 and CLR 2.0. Yeah.
It actually already released. The standard is out already. So I think from the technical side, I think from Thai MOOC side, we agree with you with the future direction that you are looking for. I mean, using the Open Batch 3.0 and then the verifiable credential. This is the thing that we also are exploring as well. But the Thai national credit banks, we'll try to push them into that direction, but I still do not know because they are just beginning, and then we just have a new government, so still I'm not sure what it will look like in the end. But I think I have a positive opinion that they will also go in this direction of the one that you propose. So from the technical side, basically I think we support the direction that you are in. And I will also would like to add something. So you have a representation, and then you have thing about the credential on the micro and macro level. I would like to add another thing about the competency or the skill that you talked before. That the same thing that we are talking about. Let's say Python programming. Is it the same thing? When we talk Python programming in Thailand, in Malaysia, is this the same Python programming, or that in the other country or something like that? We need some skill vocabulary or something that we could share together. I believe that in the European framework, they have a kind of what they call skill bank. I think that they have all the members share the set of common skill set. That if I can see that if this is Python 101, then it is approximately the same between each country. It might not be the same, but when it's approximately the same, so some of that vocabulary might help. I mean, the skill vocabulary or something like that might help. Yeah, you have already the skill standard.
Project 4.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. So I think we would like to join.
I would like to add that this is a very good time for the development of the micro-credential or credit bank in Thailand. Since we are now in the process of developing the national credit bank, and we are all the member of the committee that we try to, we can discuss the standard. So this is a good time if we have allied together in ASEAN country or any country, and then we can use that standard, push in the National Credit Bank Committee.
What country just joined into that community? Thailand? Only Thailand. Only Thailand. National country. So.
The room is so big, we cannot hear.
So to further describe a bit, because in Thailand for the credit bank system there are two levels. First at the university level, at least they have to have their own, and the second level is the national level one. So Thai MOOC or the Thailand Cyber University project was assigned by the government, the ministry, to design first the pilot at the institutional level to act as one university, have the credit bank system, and then to show and also develop the prototype for the national credit bank system and show them how to transfer from the university level one to the national one. So that's why Dr. Anushai and Dr. Pontuat mentioned that this is about a very good time that we can design the one that can use with other countries as well. So later on they can transfer not only in our country but at the international level to all the countries. I mean like Japan, Philippines, and many other countries. So this is a very good time to have this start. So thank you very much for being here, and we are in yeah. Right.
Okay,
So,
we are going to continue to the talk with how to connect, how to collaborate to your system. How is Malaysia or Philippines? How can we connect to the transfer the credit? Do you have ready to making to the some interface or some adjust to the credential system?
In our case, we really need to put in place policies, academic policies about it, specific for the for micro-credentialing, because just like any other university, we're so traditional, we're so and it's really a big change for us to do this, but we are hopeful that we will be able to put in place this at the university level initially, and then at the national level, just like what Thailand is doing. And then this is something that we can bring once we have this, like the Asia Pacific thing, we can already have something to offer that is aligned with how other countries and universities are assigning credits to this micro-learning engagement. So right now, what is important to us is a policy so that it will be official already. I mean, this crediting, stacking of credits for the micro courses that we have. Hopefully, before the end of the year, we will have something concrete towards that end, and we can share the development with the rest of our colleagues in this room. Thank you.
Maybe for Malaysia, how we can contribute is that because currently we are also developing our national guidelines for micro-credential. So we have already the draft, but we didn't talk much about credit transfer, national credit bank, because we institutionalize that process. Like my university, we have that mechanism at their own respective university. But I think this can be taken up to national level. But maybe we can include that in our national micro-credential framework, because we are currently doing that. We can seriously take that into consideration. But the things like the descriptors for micro-credential, those are the things that is very similar, and we also have that in our micro-credential guidelines. No, micro-credential framework. So, yeah, I don't see a problem.
Yeah, okay. How is Professor? No? Future work.
It's a future work and collaboration. Yeah, I rephrase and share, develop and share the common framework of the micro-credential. Yeah, I hope we can have the common understanding and common goal. Yeah, I hope. Second one, the develop and share the guideline for the digitally batching of micro-credential. Yeah, how to select the batch. There is several standard of the batch, but how to select, yeah. And share platform. Now we are going to share the platform and share the contents between the MOOCs and develop a micro-credential, a good micro-credential, and between the MOOCs, yeah. And the last one is develop the common digital here description, the exchange format. Yeah, we'd like to have some international collaboration team. Yeah. We expect the UNESCO support. Yeah.
Any other opinion?
Yeah, I think UNESCO will be very happy to launch an initiative to bring together all the regional MOOCs platforms together to think of developing a common understanding on MOOCs-based micro-credentials. MOOCs-based, because it is said to be connected with MOOCs, right? So, yeah, I mean, we should do some desk review of all the things, you know, from other regions. I met colleagues from Canada. They already developed some kind of framework on micro-credentials, and I think this should be part of general quality assurance framework, right? Should be part of national qualification framework. It cannot be standalone, you know. We would like to see a kind of whole big learning ecosystem, and then position this as part of the bigger ecosystem. We are not against the macro credential, right? And I would also like to see that there must be a lot of resistance from the conventional universities, you know. They would like to provide every services for their students, even the catering service, you know, cannot be outsourced. They have their own, you know, even mass services, you have your own church, you know, they don't want, they will not be happy if students go out to eat outside. So it's not that easy, and I hope that we can really can have some mechanism to encourage the diversification of learning providers, to change a bit from external sources, right? But yeah, I mean, micro-credential is really important. So I would like to thank Japanese JMOOCs for your initiative. And of course, it's UNESCO has a convening power, and we would like to really seriously think of launching a regional network on MOOCs-based micro-credentials, or you know, supported by open educational resources, right? So we will be. It's very much in line with UNESCO's, you know, protocol, you know. So, yeah, I mean. We will communicate further with JMOOCs and also other MOOCs platforms. I hope that we can come up with initial concept note to be shared with all of you. And hopefully, maybe early next year, we can have something. I hope some of you can host a meeting. Then later it can be rotated, you know, from all these platforms, right? Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think we will take this. And thank you so much for JFIT for your very excellent initiative. Okay, Kodama Sensei, thank you.
All right, thank you very much again. So we are just initiate and work making these groups for thinking about micro credential right now. So we just found so many problems for making the collaborate or sharing the micro credential. Then please be continue to the discussion about please be continue to collaborate with us. Just he said, we are just gathering to the continuously. Thank you very much.
Again with each other and yes, yeah, Dr. Anuchai, Professor Gentavi, and also our friend. So yeah, I mean, let's see if we can get together. See you again very soon. Yeah, good photo. Okay.
May
Okay.
I have
Okay.
one little announcement, please? I think we all to celebrate this achievement after hard work, Thailand Cyber University would like to invite you all for dinner. Okay, so it would be at this restaurant on this floor from 6 p.m. Am I right? Yes, 6 p.m. And of course, we would not force you to sing a song, but it would be good if you can do that. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. And a group photo, of course. We need photo. Oh, where can we have? Outside at the signage? นี่ไหมครับ โอเคครับ